Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, or whenever you happen to be watching this lovely little video. And I want to welcome you guys to a new segment on Bourbon Bay Talks called Whiskey Music Hour, where we delve into the history of how whiskey has influenced music and how music has influenced whiskey. As we all know, or maybe you don't, uh, back when the Scotch Irish came here to the New World and settled out in the backwoods, started distilling their illicit spirits. They had to do something to pass the time. So, they brought along some of the instruments that they brought from their home countries, started to play the music, and, while they waited for the mash to cook and for their spirits to distill. And, of course, that helped to influence what we call country music today and also other genres such as rock, jazz, and many other genres. I just kind of wanted to dive into that aspect of whiskey because I find it very interesting and I hope you guys do too. And if you like the name of the segment, please write it down in the comments, or if you think I should change it, definitely let me know. Always appreciate your guys' support and feedback. And we have a very exciting first guest with the RiverTown Saints, a country music band out of Ottawa, Canada, who many of you may know from their hit single Cherry Bomb, which I'll play. They got numerous nominations back in 2017 from the Canadian Music Awards for that single, and they won the 2018 Canadian Radio Music Awards for Best New Group. And they have a number of new singles that have recently come out, and we actually have a clip of their newest one that will be coming out on March 4th. And I hope you guys stay tuned to the very end of this episode to listen. They were very gracious to let us get that clip and to let you guys all listen. And again, that comes out on March 4th on all music platforms, Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, and so on. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy a great new episode. And as always, appreciate the support. And let me know down in the comments. Smash that like button. And sit back and relax and enjoy a brand new episode of Bourbon Bay Talks and Whiskey Music Hour.
We're RiverTown Saints. This is
Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
Chase.
Joe.
And we are a Canadian country band. We
You
love to play.
You know what? We should have. Steven said our latest single is "What Y'all Doing Tonight,"
I made better.
Yeah, which is actually probably more accurate. We should have called it that. Could you sing it like that? What y'all doing? We dropped the y'all because we figured it wouldn't sound. We wouldn't sound
doing tonight?
Yeah, that would sound too American for us. We wouldn't sound real. But I think that would actually work.
People wouldn't buy it. They don't buy it when a bunch of Canadians.
Yeah, exactly.
They'd
be like, these guys are from Ontario. What the heck?
be like you calling your new bourbon, a
maple syrup.
You never
bourbon.
know, man. You never know with bourbons these days.
Oh yeah, I know for sure. Yeah.
Be a good Canadian whiskey.
Yeah, definitely would.
Yeah, Canadian whiskey. There was a stuff that Joe and I used to drink called Royal Reserve.
Oh yeah.
It's terrible.
In the inner aisle of Canadian Tire.
Yeah.
What is pretty popular down here? I know we sell a good amount of it. So
Royal Reserve, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. They sell.
oh yeah.
Crown is
Oh
a
my
big.
God.
Crown's a big deal in the States.
Yeah, Crown isn't the only big one out down here in down in the States. And we also got Black Velvet.
Black Velvet.
Oh yeah, and I know another one is Pendleton. Pendleton is definitely a very nice Canadian whiskey that we have.
I don't think I've ever tried that
Do you
one.
guys do you carry Canadian Club Rye?
Not the rye. We do have Canadian Club though.
Okay.
Nice.
That's a state. That's if you're doing mixers and you want rye, that's what you buy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tastes like a taxi cab ride home at 3 a.m. in the wintertime.
Yeah, definitely winter.
I've had quite a few of those.
Christmas parties, basically. Yeah. So what's what's your? I read up a little bit about your podcast, but what's your are you a bourbon? Do you make bourbon?
No, so I don't make bourbon, but I'm a bourbon steward. And so what I like to do is I like to talk about the history of bourbon. I mean, of course, we'll go over tastings, because, you know, that's what a lot of people like to know about bourbons, but I like to kind of go and explore the history of the bourbons and the stories behind the whiskey and how it helped to shape the countries. Because I mean, as we were kind of talking about with like, whiskey has definitely been an influence in a lot of different things with our culture, especially in music. You know, that I'm sure you guys probably know that a lot of, even up there in Canada, is because, you know, I mean, that's how country music kind of got its start, was people out there in the Appalachia or out in the woods, even up there in Canada, where, you know, they were making their moonshine or making their illicit stills, and, you know, they had to do something while they were waiting for it to cook. So, and they started to, especially with them, a lot of them being Scotch Irish, you know, they were playing those, the music from their homeland, and that kind of eventually became what we know today as country music. So, I mean, that's kind of, it's just been, and I like to explore those kind of stories. And like, I mean, with the Whiskey Music Hour, I mean, just to kind of get you guys, it's just that avenue to, because a lot of songs, you know, you always hear the lyrics with whiskey or, you know, I mean, from like, I know you guys have a song or two, I think that includes some, or about whiskey or something, I think, or at least has some whiskey in the lyrics.
I'm sure there is, and I'm trying to think of what one.
You get to me.
It's one that's not out.
Top shelf bourbon.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I don't even know. See, I didn't write that one, so I don't know. What else do we talk about? Whiskey, yeah, Whiskey Do the Work, which
it's actually in one of our new songs that we haven't released yet, but
You can say the line.
Turn it up.
Let the whiskey do the work.
What's the line before that though? He's the lead singer, by the way.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know.
Oh
I
God.
don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to kind of like talk about how the idea of starting the band came about, and, you know, how you guys all got together, and
Absolutely.
yeah, then maybe we can get into some stories about like your first night drinking or something, or first time drinking.
I
Well-
do remember what it is. It's toss it back, feel it burn, let the whiskey do the
Yeah,
work.
I knew there was an important part of it,
Yeah.
the burn part, which is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first night drinking. Well, this is Chase's first time drinking, for sure. No, so we've been a band since 2014. We didn't really do much in 2014 other than just like get together and jam. I think we played a couple shows, but they were just like showcase type. Nobody booked us because nobody knew who we were. And actually, Chase and Joe are new to this band. The original members are myself and Jeremy. And we had a former lead singer who quit and to pursue a solo career. But that former lead singer came to a show that, so Joe and I used to be in a band together. And he came to our show. We were doing country songs and covers and whatnot.
The band sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and anyways, he basically said, "Hey, can I join your band?" And we're like, "Well, I think we're about to break up anyways." So I mean, I was the only one that really wanted to do music at that point still. So I said, "Well, let's just start a new one." So myself and the former lead singer, his name is Chris as well, and Jeremy started this band, and then we recruited a couple other dudes, and we got things rolling. And that was a blast till about 2018. And then the old lead singer quit to pursue a solo career. And then shortly after, unfortunately, our former bass player passed away at, I guess he would have been 31 years old. So that was all kind of all at once. But during that time between the singer leaving and before Dan passed away, we were auditioning singers, and Chase was one of the people we auditioned that we pretty much had already voted. He wasn't quite in yet, but we were like, I think he's our guy, like between all of us at the time. And anyways, and that's how Chase is in the band now. So between, 2019 and now, it's been a reset because of COVID. I mean, we went from playing tons of shows all summer long, all across Canada, to nothing in 2019 because our singer left. Well, our singer left in 2018, but we had to basically rebuild. And then, 2020 was COVID. So all the stuff that we did have booked got canceled or pushed. And things are just starting to happen again. But we've since then have put out 3 singles, and we have a 4th one on the way, and all new stuff with Chase on it. So that's where we're at.
Well, I mean, definitely sounds like you guys have been through a lot of challenges, more than a lot of other bands, you'd have to say. But I mean, would you say that kind of going through some of those things has kind of helped you guys become a better band and like even inspired you a little bit more as well? Or
I think the big thing is that it just gave us an appreciation for how fragile things are and how quickly it can all change, and stuff that no one ever sees coming, that like you can't plan for. And I think we all just kind of exist in this place of enjoying it while it lasts for however long it lasts, kind of thing.
It helps us not sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
See the big picture.
Yeah, I think we all get a lot less stressed out now.
Totally.
but yeah, would you guys, I know what I read up about you guys is that you were touring with I think Kip Moore, if I read that right, is that you guys did have we're doing a tour with them. I mean, what was that experience like, touring with Kip Moore?
We toured across Canada with Kip Moore spring of 2017. It wasn't a lot of dates because the drives were so far. As you know, Canada's very desolate, spread out.
Desolate.
Yes.
Not desolate.
Yes, it is. Where he lives, desolate. So that was a blast. We rented an RV, and first date was Winnipeg, Manitoba, which was 21 hours from Ottawa. So we drove there in 2 days.
Do you know Canadian geography very well?
Yeah, I've been up to Canada. I mean, more like I've been up to Toronto, I've been up to Niagara and Vancouver. I mean, I know Canada a little bit.
So Ottawa to Winnipeg, just for scale, is further than driving from Ottawa to Florida. It's 26 hours. It's literally the same as driving from like upstate New York to Fargo, North Dakota.
Oh wow.
And that was the first. So like, we had to drive that before our first gig, and so there's almost nothing between Ottawa.
Wawa.
Yeah, well,
Wawa.
Sault Ste. Marie, Wawa. We went to a Boston Pizza. That's a restaurant chain here.
Yeah.
In Sault Ste. Marie, Wawa. We slept there, and it was a snowstorm in April, and then we made her to Winnipeg. Burton Cummings Theater.
So to drive home from the last date, which was
Kamloops, BC.
Yeah, which was sort of the interior, like mountainy part of BC. To drive home like straight through like we did, it was 45 hours of continuous driving.
Yeah, it took a pretty well 4 days.
So yeah, it's it'd be like driving from California to New York.
Oh yeah. Mm.
It's just because you have to, once you get to basically Ontario, from there you have to kind of drive around Lake Superior.
You have to drive around a bunch of it.
Yeah.
So, but it's like a straight line from Winnipeg to BC. It's just like a straight line through.
Other than the mountains,
through the prairies, where like you steer straight forward for like 10 hours, and you could fall asleep and miss nothing, and probably stay on the road.
Yeah.
So
very straight and flat there. So it's,
sounds a little bit like Florida. And
tangent here. The sickest I have ever been was on the side of the interstate in Florida. Like, we were on a family vacation and I got food poisoning the morning before we left. Yeah, I puked in a bag on the side of the I-4. Like, it was like 100 degrees out at noon and just like super humid, and like, yeah, it was so miserable.
last time I was in Florida, that was I was with you guys. That was the last time I was there.
We went in 2019. We drove from Nashville. So we drove down to Nashville, which is 16 hours for us.
Mhm.
We drove
24 for me.
24 for you, yeah. We drove down to Nashville, and then we got there, and then the next day we got up and we drove from Nashville to like Destin, like the Panhandle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hours.
Yeah,
7 hours.
so it was the first time I got to see Alabama, which is cool.
It was a nice drive.
It was
a
awesome.
beautiful drive.
Yeah, I had a great time.
None of the peanut stands were open though. I was disappointed.
Orlando, Jeremy and I were in Orlando for this Dreams Take Flight charity thing that we got to be a part of with the band in
18.
October 2018, early October 2018. So that was the last time we went to Disney.
That one was fun, eh?
That was very fun.
Where in Florida are you?
So I'm in Tampa, Florida.
That's crazy.
I spent a day at Clearwater Beach one time. That's in Tampa, right?
Yep. Yeah. I'm about 30 minutes outside of Clearwater. So.
That's a beautiful area.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't, so I stayed there, and then I stayed near Fort St. Joe on up on the sort of the western coast.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I've been to Destin, and it's crazy. They all look completely different.
No, it is true. You get to certain parts of Florida and it's just, I mean, it's very different from other parts. But yeah, it sounds like in those times that you guys are doing those road trips, it's some really good bonding experience, I would hope.
Oh man, that's like if you're gonna be a band in Canada, you basically, your gig is driving places, and then at the end of it, you get to do a show sometimes.
You don't break down on the
Because
way.
it's such there's so much distance between all the places we play. It's like, being a Canadian musician, you have to love being on the road, and you have to love being in airports, and you have to love travel, because you do way more of that than you do actually playing music. So, but I mean, we all get along. We're all stoked when we get in the car and crank some tunes and get coffees.
So any like crazy stories you guys have from the road or
What can we say?
Yeah.
What are we allowed
that you're willing to say? Let's just go there that you're willing to talk about.
Well, Chris and I killed a bunch of drifters one time. I think we're in South Carolina.
If by drifters you mean groundhogs?
No, drifters. Remember, we were super high on PCP.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's pretty tame. It's just mostly like a lot of farting,
Yeah.
bad food. We drink a lot of coffee. I think
We get really hungover sometimes and have a very difficult time.
Like today for you
Recouping.
this morning?
I was all right. Jeremy was the one that was hurting a little bit.
our old drummer was a hilarious dude, and he loved.
Not on purpose.
Yeah, he was accidentally hilarious. But
Yeah.
he loved food. He loved his food, and so we played an award show week thing in Canada here, and then we had a very early hotel call the next morning to get on the bus, and everybody was paying for their sins a little bit, but none more than Jordan. And we went and got McDonald's breakfast, and he was just sitting on the bus, just like we watched him walk to the bus like it was his last walk. And then he's just sitting on the bus doing the slow rock, and he's pretty pale. And then I just see hand goes to the mouth, and so I grabbed his bag of McDonald's and I gave it to him so that he wouldn't barf everywhere, and he barfed into the McDonald's bag. And then he was so upset that he didn't have a breakfast after that. And
by the way, he was the type of guy that, like, if he bought you a coffee or a breakfast or whatever, like, he would hold you to paying him back like 100%. Like, you don't really count coffees. That's kind of like an unspoken thing. But he was like, so I owed him breakfast, so he made sure that I bought him breakfast that morning, which was fine. And then he puked in it, and he was like, no. I'm like, well, I'm not buying you another one. Just poke the bear a little bit.
Great dude, though. We miss him a lot.
Yeah.
He just had to, with COVID and family stuff, he had to step away from the band to be home more and stuff, which is,
He loves drink tickets.
which is
Free
Which is
drink
like-
tickets.
very understandable. There's a certain amount of sacrifice that like everybody's families have to make because it is such, we're down here for a week in Toronto, and two of us have kids at home, and I mean, Chris has a bunch of kids. He just doesn't know any of them. But
Typical band member.
so yeah, the drives, it's just a lot of like I don't know. We just joke around. I don't think anyone takes anything seriously. Nothing's off limits. We just make fun of each other all the time. And
One of the shows last year, it was called Crooks Rapids Country Festival. And the night before, me and Chris got there, and
I was there the night before.
Yeah, what did you buy? He
I
bought a
brought-
bottle of something rabbit or something, some sort of vodka.
Yeah, I brought vodka. I was trying to drink clear liquor because I thought it'd be less of a hangover /
No.
you know, trying to keep the calories low and all that.
And we even drank, so we drank half and half bubbly.
Oh yeah, bubbly.
So bubblies, do they have any?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they got bubbly.
Yeah, it was sparkling
Soda
water. Yeah.
Soda water.
We used that and vodka, and we finished the bottle the night before the show.
I don't know how that happened.
That was like brutal morning, that one. And then played the show, stayed up until I think 4 o'clock the night.
Did it all over
Did
again.
it all over again. We woke up the next morning. Jeremy drove, I think, 5 kilometers, then pulled behind a dumpster and fell asleep. I went straight to
We
it.
drove right by him and didn't even notice.
That was in a McDonald's parking lot.
Yeah, I drove straight to a like, roadside diner and destroyed their kitchen.
The best part about that is we texted later, and the guys were like, "Oh, we just left Madoc." I was like, "I was sleeping behind the dumpster there." Like while you guys were in the parking lot getting food, I was sleeping behind a dumpster.
Yeah, we didn't all drive together to that one because we all had different times. I don't know why did we go early?
You're always coming from
Party.
somewhere else.
That's true.
Yeah, we were coming from somewhere else. I think.
That might have been it.
I know,
Yeah.
like one of you guys just recently celebrated a birthday, I think, right? Jeremy,
Yes, sir.
happy birthday, buddy! And
So
So,
big 4-0.
Big 4.
Speaking of bourbon, my sister bought me the big bottle of Maker's Mark for my birthday, and she
Speaking
got
of
me
bourbon.
She got me
that's a good one, man. That's
she got me whiskey, and she got me whiskey stones for it.
nice.
So
I mean, would you say that's kind of like one of your favorites? Is like Makers or?
yeah, Maker's is like, I mean, for years we had Wild Turkey on our rider just because it was like the best cheap bourbon. Like it was like, I'm just gonna say it. If I had the choice between that and Jack Daniels, because Jack Daniels is the one they like to give you on your rider. Like, I'm not a Jack guy at all. So Wild Turkey was nice, but no, there's a couple of them. Four Roses
Still a
is good.
splash.
Buffalo Trace is good. And then Makers, Makers is a
Dude,
good one too. I
Remember that
don't want to drink this at all.
Oh.
Devil's Cut night?
So last night we went to a friend's house who lives in Toronto here, and
We had some bourbon last night.
yes, and
She's actually a fellow Canadian country artist as well.
yeah,
Oh,
she,
yeah.
her name's Kelsey Main,
She was the girl in our Cherry Bomb video.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
but she had a bottle of Maker's 46, and she was making us old fashions, and
They were going down.
good.
And so now
Easy.
the smell of this cheap bean that
Oh,
Chris
yeah,
bought is just
It's like, yeah, that hurts.
woo, hurting me.
You know why I bought this? Because I can't afford gas. That's it. It's an inside joke this week,
Oh.
except it's not a joke.
You should keep it more inside.
Well, cheers.
Cheers, guys. Yeah.
Break all these. Cheers.
Yeah, actually, on the first tour our band ever went on, which obviously was Chris and I and the other guys, the previous lineup.
Stings.
It's terrible. we had no money for this tour. Like we didn't have money for anywhere to stay or food or anything like that, and we didn't know if we were going to get anything on riders at the show. So Chris and I bought a bottle of Jim Beam Devil's Cut,
Oh.
and we
I like
went.
that stuff.
And then we stayed at your cousin's place, and we met a guy in the hallway, and he was like, "You guys are gonna drink that?" And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Give me that." And he wanted to show how tough he was, so he drank from the bottle. So we all drank from the bottle, and
Jeremy was under a table and
yeah, that
ended up being butt naked, jumping on top of me in bed. It was weird. It was fun though.
Well, yeah.
was that fun.
I mean, looking back, it wasn't at the time when he jumped on top of me. Here comes Jeremy. Ah!
That's not what you said at the time.
Oh god.
Looked like the Nirvana album cover.
Yeah.
No, the baby's bigger.
The baby's bigger.
The baby's bigger.
Yeah, much bigger at this point.
That's right. Yeah.
So, I mean, so like, would you say that there's any like particular story that you could say from drinking or that kind of inspired you guys to want to start the band or start doing music?
I think we all have a communal love of beer that we didn't pay for.
That's
And
true.
so being in a band is a great way to drink beer you don't pay for.
Yeah. Any
Whether you-
particular
Yeah,
particular bar that loves you guys so much that you started out with?
We've been kicked out of too many, so
The Crazy Horse in Ottawa.
Yeah, there's
yeah,
a bar.
that's sweet.
There's a bar in Ottawa called Crazy Horse that we all played at. There's another bar called the Barley Mows
Barley Mow.
that we've all played at.
Yeah, it's like a chain in Ottawa. I think we were kind of not really Chase, but Jeremy, Joe, and I were like more rock guys, and we always we had like emo bands growing up and punk rock and all that stuff. And then my dad for years was like, you should just learn some songs that everyone can sing along to, like maybe a country song or a John Mellencamp or something. And then Joe and I started learning that stuff and ended up in a cover band. But we all kind of met. Well, me, Jeremy, and Joe sort of met mutually through the love of music. And Chase is actually Jeremy's cousin.
I'm
And
Jeremy's cousin.
Chase is the most country guy here.
I grew up on country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When our old singer quit, we had to obviously get a new singer,
Hmm.
and the guy we wanted wasn't available, so we got Chase. I made that joke twice today.
Yeah.
It's true though.
No, Chase, him and I, being cousins, known each other for most of our lives in some capacity, and I knew he had a great voice from seeing stuff he was posting on Instagram, and so just made sense when we had a spot for a new vocalist. We jammed together, and many beers were consumed.
Many.
Many beers were consumed as part of the auditioning process. And
That's right. That's
A
part
lot
of
of
the
a lot of no-name yellow.
Yeah, no name beers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
We
Yeah,
drank,
the no-name
we drank a
beers.
case every day.
I literally drove through traffic and stuff to get to the grocery store before they sold out. Because it was right around the time they could sell beer in grocery stores in Ontario, and then this grocery store here, they have no name brand. It's
So
independent
you
or
gotta
something.
You gotta give the whole story.
All right.
This guy campaigned to be the premier of Ontario, which is essentially like the governor. And one of his campaign promises was to
$1.
bring back $1 beers.
Oh, really?
Because
We're like, yeah.
because alcohol is so tightly controlled here, there's a minimum amount you can sell them for provincially.
Oh, yeah.
And so he was kind of like, well, if businesses want to sell it for $1, they should be allowed to. And so as part of his campaign, only one company decided they would try to do this, and it was the brand No Name. So you could buy no name beer, and it was $1.10 a bottle. So it was $6.60 for a case of 6 of them. And so when they went on sale, Chris drove all over the city, picking up cases of it. So
And it was okay beer.
it was
It was pretty
for
good.
$1.10 a beer. It was
I haven't had it since because I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't think it was. Yeah,
I don't even know if it's a thing anymore.
They went out of business. It was too cheap.
it was too cheap.
Yeah.
But no, I think we just
That was just a fun process though.
beer and stuff like that is just very much alcohol and music are
Yeah.
always together, and so I think that's part of it.
For me too, I never really played. I never did any sort of performing before I joined the band. Actually, no, that's not true.
When
I
are you
played.
gonna start?
Ew.
That's not true. I played one show, and it was a Christmas show in my hometown, and I sang one song, and it was Morgan Wallen Whiskey Glasses. I don't know how that's Christmas, but
It works, man. These days.
Eggnog glasses.
yeah, but I've always had a passion for singing, just because my mother, she can sing very well, and I've always liked to listen to her, so I thought I'd try it when I was young, and turns out I could. And my grandmother actually was also the manager of Shania Twain.
Oh, really?
So,
Wow.
yeah, so it was, I had a lot of country music background, like involvement. But yeah, it was only a year prior to being in the band that I started to actually want to sing more and maybe perform. It was the nail in the coffin was getting the message from the band asking if I wanted to be an auditionee. So
Not to take your shoes, Stephen, about interviewing, but I actually have a question for you.
me,
Yeah, well, so
No.
you've played a
Oh.
few shows and stuff,
yeah.
and like so you kind of realize that have you realized that it's different than, like, is it different than what you thought it would be?
100%. Because like I think it was the aspect that everybody that has no idea what's going on in music thinks is that I assumed that when I joined a band that was semi-successful, that it would have been I just figured everything would have been paid for. Like it was, you know what I mean? It was like, it's what everybody thinks, right? You're making so much money and you don't have to pay for anything. You can travel, you have the best job in the world. And it's
You
like,
get free booze sometimes.
and you get free booze, but it's like, it's the behind the scenes things that it opens up the eyes. And I still love it. It was a little bit more of a shock to see all that, but
It's more work than you think.
it's a lot more work than you think. And for lots of people, even people in my hometown, my dad recently built a brand new house and people were asking me if I bought it for him. And I was like, no, I'm still living with him. So that's not.
Have you, is Shania as well known in Florida?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
think
So
she-
like I'll have to say that was actually my first ever concert. Was
Yeah.
yeah, she came down right after the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup in 04. And
That the shirt you're wearing right now?
yeah,
It's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, there you
yeah,
go.
this is actually the more recent one. The shirt from 04 doesn't quite fit anymore.
I feel that.
Yeah, but yeah, so she actually came down, performed right at, well, back then it was the St. Pete Times Forum. And yeah, she actually, in the middle of one of her songs, she put on a Tampa Bay Lightning jersey. And then one of her, I think it was her guitarist, decided to throw on a Calgary Flame jersey. And next thing you know, the entire crowd is just chanting, "Let's go Lightning," and just booing the other guy like crazy.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that was my first ever concert. Shania was definitely very popular down here in Florida.
Yeah,
And
she has a bunch of big hits up here, like
oh yeah.
Keep Your Cowboy Hat Out of My Igloo and Dog Sleds Are Better Than Trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I made those up.
But I was actually going to ask you probably for the next question is like, I know some of you guys said that you earlier on, you were listening more like emo rock, but like, what are some bands that probably inspired you guys?
Oh, well, okay.
Two of our favorite bands are from Tampa.
Yeah, Under
Oh,
Oath. You ever
What's
heard
that?
of Under Oath?
Say it again.
Under Oath.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
They're
Or,
a band from Tampa.
Newfound Glory is from Tampa and Coral
Yeah. I
Springs.
know Newfound Glory. Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, that was like my jam in 2000, man. That was
Under Oath was screamo, and the drummer from Under Oath played with Paramore for a while. If you've heard of them.
Yeah. I know Paramore. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
And then there's a lot of, well, there's no like, was there Canadian emo? Alexis on Fire.
that was a good one.
No, but there's like, would Mariana's Trench be classified as like screamo?
No,
No, like a punk,
pop.
pop punk.
It's more pop, but I mean, it was kind of off the
Yeah,
cuff too.
you know,
Yeah,
it's-
Mariana's Trench. Have you heard of them?
not them. I feel like I've heard of some
Incredible band.
Canadian bands that were like, punk or I'm trying to remember the names right now.
Simple Plan.
Yeah, Simple
Simple
Plan.
Plan. Yeah. I've heard of them.
They're
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
What about okay? If we switch it to rock, well, okay, were you into like pop punk or punk rock and stuff, or were you into rock? Like, what's your?
I love country, but I've also loved rock since I was a kid. Guys are probably gonna laugh at me. Like I was a big Nickelback fan back in the day.
Nickelback's awesome.
Any true music person loves Nickelback.
Yeah.
Nickelback is an incredible band.
Yeah, it's funny though. Like down here, sometimes they get a lot of crap, and I don't understand.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
a
you do
great
hear-
band.
everybody gives them crap.
I
until
was
you
the
put it
guy.
on and they
I
start
was the
singing
guy
their
that gave
songs.
them crap because I thought it was like,
the cool thing to do.
no, it's just different, you know.
I feel
because it was
like
different.
they're in that same class as Metallica, where you're
Yeah.
just you get so big that people attach themselves to like an album or a sound, and then you do something different, and then they hate you.
No, yeah, that's true. And like another one that I loved was like Three Doors Down, 3 Days Grace.
3 Days
Yep.
Grace?
Wait,
Yeah.
it's Three Doors Down isn't Canadian, are they?
No.
No, I don't know if they're Canadian, but I know
Okay.
yeah, they were definitely one of the
Yeah,
groups
they
I
are.
listened. Because yeah, I grew up playing hockey. Even though I'm a Florida boy, I grew up playing hockey.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so like I like to listen to things, you know, and rock was heavily associated back then with hockey.
Yeah.
you know,
Pretty
so,
sure
What was that?
Disturbed had some
No,
songs
what
on
was
like
that?
the NHL video.
Yeah, I believe they did.
What was that trap song that was in all the hockey stuff? Back off, I'll take you on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
1,000 Foot Crutch had a song on an NHL game too.
yeah.
They were like a Christian band that Jeremy and I would have been into, but also kind of touched like the they weren't punk rock. What were they? Like alternative?
No, they're like rap rock.
Yeah, rapcore. I don't know. Back in the day.
Yeah, there was like one group where it was like I forgot the name of the group, but they did the song like "Pain Without Love, Pain." And I think that was like in an NHL promo one time.
Look at it up.
Totally.
Well, excuse me.
Papa
Sorry.
Roach was probably on NHL too. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, for sure. And they're like old MX versus ATV, like
The Theory of a Dead Man.
the off-road.
Yeah,
Oh,
Theory of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
I've been kind of going a little bit to like I guess
That's 3 Days Grace.
rap. I guess you had DMX too.
Yeah.
Any hockey game.
Yeah.
You ever heard of Tragically Hip? They're a
Yeah,
band.
it sounds familiar. Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah.
I don't think they ever did well in America, but they were like literally anyone in Canada would know them. They're like a household name, like one of the biggest Canadian bands ever.
They could sell out any arena here, and they
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
barely fill a club anywhere like
Yeah, in America, it's so funny.
anywhere other than like the northern states. Like they did well in Buffalo or
Yeah.
Seattle or something like that. But yeah, like they would fill an arena here and then go play at the Roxy and there'd be 150 people. So
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that is. I mean, it's like certain things with like certain genres do well, or US is just funny that way.
But it's like that with there are, I mean, the United States are there's a lot more population there and a lot more bands and music and all that, but there's also bands that we've never heard of in Canada that do well in the United States. Like if you're looking at country, like I don't know if has Parmalee ever played Canada. I'm not sure. Like
they
you've
ever
probably
played
heard
Canada.
Parmalee. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. But they're fairly big in the US.
Oh.
Randy Rogers band, which is more of a Texas band, but had a pretty good run for like 10 years. Have you heard of them?
Yeah, Randy Rogers. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so like I don't know if they've ever played in Canada, but they're kind of a big deal, specifically in like the Midwest, like Texas, Oklahoma. Anyways, it's the same thing. It's just like there's bands that never make it out of each other's countries,
Yeah, I find also too
like us.
the radio factor of Canada is a little bit to do with it, because we have, I don't know if America has like the 10% or no, is it 30% Canadian?
No.
They don't have, but they don't have that for like
No,
America.
so
they
if
just
you're
play-
like basically if you're on a US label, you'll get played in America. If you're not, you won't.
that's it, I mean, it's like
Unless they really like you.
so Canada has to play a certain amount of Canadian songs, and
Oh,
then
really?
they just play American the
well,
rest of the
they
time.
have to, because the radio stations get funding from the federal government.
Oh, okay.
So they're required. It's so that Canadian, it's so they can justify investing in Canadian arts, basically. Because
Yeah.
if it were up to the radio stations, they would just play Florida Georgia Line all the time, because
Exactly.
that's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah, they're pretty big. Those guys. I think they just got a.
They just split.
They just
They're
got
on a hiatus.
They just got their own museum.
Yeah, they just got their own exhibit down at the Country Music Hall of Fame,
Yeah,
and
Can't
they do a lot of their own whiskey now too.
yeah.
Oh,
Old
yeah,
Camp.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Full Moon. Yeah, the Full Camp, and then I think they partnered with Jason Aldean, and now he does like a Full Moon bourbon. I mean, there's a lot of like either country music or like John Rich, he does his own from American Redneck Riviera whiskey. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one yet.
He's got that's his bar too, Redneck Riviera.
Mhm.
So he's got one in Vegas, I think. He must have one in Nashville, I would assume.
I would think so, yeah. So I mean, I know you guys are working on some music now. I mean, is there any other kind of like plans for tours? Or is kind of like the pandemic right now kind of taking like precedent right now to doing any tours
So
right now?
it's definitely different here than it is in the US. You know, there's still a lot of rules aren't as relaxed here as they are in most of America, but so there's always the unknown. But you know, summertime's always has been looking like it. Summertime was looking pretty good in 2021, and it's looking really good this year. Anything outdoor is typically fine, it seems, at this point. Even as far as capacities go, I don't think it even matters that much. So we don't have any specific touring, but we have a lot of stuff coming up in different provinces across Canada this summer. None of which I can speak of because they're not announced yet, unfortunately.
No worries.
But I will say that we will be out west in Western Canada. We got a handful of Ontario dates. And yeah, I mean, that's where we're at now. Maybe I may come to Florida sometime this month. We'll see.
Chris is
Hey, hit me up, man.
Chris is unemployed. so-
Unemployable.
Unemployable. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you guys do get some Florida dates, let me know, man, because we
Oh,
love to
absolutely.
yeah, that'd be fun.
I have another buddy in Florida that lives over near Merritt Island.
Yeah, that's a little bit near like Fort Myers area, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so if and actually I once recorded an album in Florida with a guy named James Wisner in St. Cloud.
Was that near Orlando?
Yeah, it's like southeast of it.
Yeah, Sinclair, yeah.
Yeah, it's like near Kissimmee. How do you say that? Kissimmee or Kissimmee?
Kissimmee. Yeah.
Kissimmee, okay.
Yeah. The only one that's really the one that everybody gets crazy about is the Tallahassee. So,
Tallahassee. Or Lake Okeechobee or whatever.
oh, yeah, Okeechobee. You get all sorts of crazy names. I mean,
All right, one up where I live, it's called Wabba Wabba Weewa.
yeah.
Is that real? Oh my God.
It's where Borat's from. I will travel to Florida.
Remember that time we went to an Applebee's in Ohio?
No,
Remember $4 margaritas?
but we did. No, they were dollar margaritas.
Oh, dollar margarita.
We went to
Yeah.
we went to Applebee's
I
in
couldn't drink
Nashville. No, in Florida. In Florida.
No,
Oh,
we
no,
went to
Nashville.
Applebee's. We went to Applebee's in Nashville.
Yeah, it was.
I still couldn't drink.
It was
So-
$1 margaritas. So and you were
Gross.
capped at 6. So we all drank 6 margaritas in 1 hour, and nobody got drunk because
No.
they were so cheap.
Yeah.
It just tasted like battery acid and lemon juice.
But still, good establishment, Applebee's. Last Applebee's I was at was somewhere in Illinois.
They
And
used
it
to
was
have
really
the
cold.
2 entrees for $25.
Yeah, yeah.
You could get a steak for $12.50.
Yep.
It wasn't a good steak, but it was $12.50.
Still a
Yep.
steak.
Yeah. And of course, can't remember the country singer right now that his song has made that place.
We're not gonna talk about him.
No.
Like Applebee's
We're not
on
gonna
a
talk
date
about-
night.
His name's Walker Hayes, and we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Good
That's
for
a
him.
rocker
You
race.
know what? That guy deserved it, even though I hate the song.
That guy's face is so punchable.
He's so is yours. Anyway, you know what? We should go to Tampa, boys. Like in
Yeah.
a couple weeks. Let's go.
Let's
Okay.
go.
Are you paying there, job boy?
No, I don't have
Good
any
job,
money,
boy.
but
You paying for my flight? All your money?
that'd just be something to do, you know? Then we could wait the winter out in Tampa. I'll, just,
Mhm.
Fly my wife and kids down too?
I'll fly your wife down.
Yeah, you will.
So, I mean, you guys pretty excited. Like, are you working on a new album? Is that what it is? Or
Kind of.
Yeah, usually like we're trying to get songs lined up so that we can have them pre-planned before the release.
Hmm,
And this is kind of just something we do every once in a while to get a new batch of songs into the mix so that we can have more options to pursue in the future. So
well, I know you're definitely your new single is really good. I like that one a lot. I was listening to that before the show.
thank you.
You know, that was the first song.
What y'all doing
Chase-
tonight?
That was the
Yeah,
first-
what
yeah. That was the first song I ever sang on.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
take credit for that. Oh, just saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we ever play it in Florida,
We'll do it
we
like
will
that.
sing it like that.
The worst
That's probably a must here down in Florida. Just saying.
100%.
anytime I spend like time in the southern United States, whether it's Nashville or Florida, I always, after like a day, I'm tempted to start saying y'all, like I'm from there. And I always feel like I'm gonna use it and someone's gonna call me out on it. They're gonna be like, stop that, Canadian. We know you're not from here.
Well, I have to say that happened to me. Like when I was in college, I used to hang out with a lot of the hockey players, and I played on the college team. And we had a lot of kids from Canada and upstate New York, and after spending like a couple days with them, I'd go around and I'd have like a little bit of a Canadian accent. People are like, "You Canadian?" I'm like, "No."
Oh man,
You came back and you're like,
sorry.
you came back, you're like, hey fellas, let's go outside for a bit there, boys.
Yeah,
You got
pretty
any
much.
shirt?
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But
Party darts.
party darts.
I heard that one this summer. That was a good one.
Party darts.
Um,
yeah.
but,
So yeah. So anything else you guys got that you feel like people should know about, or
Just check out our website, rivertownsaints.com. Follow us on socials. That's the best way to keep up with what the band is doing if you're interested in that.
it's pretty much at RiverTown Saints on
At everything.
all of them.
Yeah, and I mean that's where you're gonna know about music coming out and where we're gonna be playing. And I mean, if we get an opportunity to play in the States,
Oh, we're there.
we're there. It's just it's a complicated process with visas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But rest assured, if we have an opportunity to come down and play and it makes sense, we'd be there, especially if it's in Florida and it's January here.
yes.
Yeah, man. Hey, if you got anything, if there's anything going on in, next January or something, and it's in Florida, keep us busy down there, man.
Yeah,
We'll
I'll definitely keep an eye out for you guys.
Okay, I have a question. You being a Florida native or a Florida resident, I have a question for you. I took my kids a couple of years ago to this natural springs thing, like where springs come out of the ground and
Mhm.
like super clear water. And you go on these boat tours and there's alligators everywhere. And people were swimming in this water.
Mhm.
There were alligators also in the water. Is that insane?
They're just as scared of you as you are of them.
Is
What
that
he
insane?
said. Pretty much
It's a-
what he said.
But it's a shark-sized dinosaur.
Yeah, it's just our pet lizards, man. Just our pet lizards. That's what they are.
Like you can just go swim in a body of water in Florida and there's an alligator and it will not eat you.
Yeah, I mean they're relatively docile, and unless you're like going over there and screwing with them, like trying to mess with them, they're not gonna bother you.
I thought
Chubbs,
I-
remember that gator that got I got his head.
I thought people were like, we're in the boat and I'm like telling my kids like, don't put your hands in the water, there's alligators in there, you idiots. And then but then we're watching and there's people like splashing and stuff. And I was like, if I was an alligator, I would eat that idiot person.
I mean, there are idiots out here, don't get me wrong. And like usually the people that you hear that get attacked, and God, I hope YouTube doesn't kill me for saying this, but are usually people that are doing something they shouldn't be, or that they've have a small pet with them that basically, of course, the gator is going to see that as a prey item.
Right.
Or they're doing it during times that they shouldn't. Like, I mean, I would not be going swimming in a lake in the early morning or at night, because at night, that's when the gators are more active. That's their feeding time. I would not be swimming at night in a body of water here in Florida.
That's crazy. And I won't even swim in lakes that have big fish. Like I don't even.
Me, like you see those springs and it's just beautiful. It's clear. It's awesome.
Oh, dude, this place was awesome. It was like you took a boat out over the spring and it was like 200 feet deep, and you
Mhm.
could look down and it was just blue into black,
Oh yeah.
like just the clearest. Yeah, it was wild. It was a fun day.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's great. And I mean, there's so many, like I said, there's so many fun things to do. Between going out and doing some of the nature stuff like airboat rides, swimming. But yeah, guys, I really appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us and being my first guest on the Whiskey Music Hour. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And Yeah, if you guys are down in Florida, let me know. Be happy to hang out with you and show
Yeah,
you some other.
You'll have to show us all the good bourbon down there.
Oh yeah, definitely come on down. We have some great bourbon bars
there.
down here, man.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, a lot of great bourbon bars. I mean, like I said, Florida is really kind of making a name for itself when it comes to the bourbon world. So,
Nice.
Before we go, have you ever heard of Knox and Dunn Florida rum?
yeah, I think I have heard of that. Yeah.
They have a distributor. There's this golf tournament we always play in the Ottawa Valley, and they're always there. So I don't know if they have like a distributor up here, but it's good. It's good stuff. I mean, they just go and give out samples, and they're a sponsor of the tournament. But it's just always it's Knox and Dunn Florida rum, and I don't know the history on it, but it's certainly interesting.
Yep.
So
yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what Florida is really known for. It's rum, but
yeah, totally.
yeah, and I mean, it's glad to hear that it's making its way up there. And
Yeah, totally.
put a name. And yeah, maybe you guys will pick up some nice like a Florida sponsor, like a whiskey sponsor or somebody soon. Especially hopefully to do a tour down here. That'd be great.
Oh, absolutely.
We should like start our like maple beaver bourbon or something.
Hey, why not, guys? Hey,
Yeah.
Well,
maybe do a little maple beaver bourbon, little bacon in there, but then also just do your own kind of like
that's
Canadian
right.
whiskey.
Maple.
Spicy.
Yeah. Hey man, thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Stephen. We appreciate
Absolutely.
this and appreciate your time and everything, and keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank you to Jeremy, Chris, and the guys from RiverTown Saints for joining me for my very first episode of Whiskey Music Hour. And I hope everybody who stayed tuned and listened enjoyed as well. And smash that like button and give me a subscribe if you did. Hey, if you subscribe and don't like it, you can always unsubscribe, but I hope you don't. And for everybody who stayed tuned to the very end, like I promised, we have a very exclusive first take on Maybe a Little, their new single that comes out on March 4th on Amazon Prime or Amazon, iTunes, and Spotify. And I hope you guys enjoy. And as always, definitely let me know. Give me some feedback. I always appreciate it. And if you're going to have a drink, have it with me. Ushkabehe and cheers.
Am I having a good time? Am I still bitter? Am I drinking to forget you? Or drinking to remember? Am I hurting? Am I flirting? When I kiss her like I wanna, will it feel like I'm cheating on you? Maybe a little, maybe a lot. Will I call you up and tell you probably not? Do I miss you all the time? Do I love and hate you always on my mind? Maybe a little, maybe a little, maybe a little, maybe a little. Am I lonely? Do I hate this? Am I looking for a bottle or a bedroom to escape this? Am I tipsy? Am I sober? Will I wake up over us or just hungover? Maybe a little, maybe a lot. Will I call you up and tell you probably not? Do I miss you all the time? Do I love and hate you always on my mind? Maybe a little, maybe a little, maybe a little, maybe a little. Is it hard to sleep? Is it hard to breathe? Is it killing you like it's killing me? Maybe a lot. Will I call you up and tell you probably not? Do I miss you